um, because of the the gas emission or the fossil fuels that that maybe from the vehicle that we usually use for maybe for um, uh, private transport. Uh, we use for personal purposes for burning or something.
All right, but you said that because if you feel the air is polluted right now, right? Just so you go out on the street and you need to use your face mask because the air pollution. But why is that the impact of climate change? Why do you think that is the impact of climate change? All right, it's okay that you cannot answer that. So today I will talk with you guys a little bit about climate change. So some people, especially in America right now, they don't believe that climate is changing. And even Donald Trump, he doesn't believe that the climate is changing. And a lot of big organizations, they doesn't believe so. But 99% of scientists saying that the climate is changing. So today I will tell you why the climate is changing, what caused the climate change, and what the impact of climate. Um, let me share with you guys my screen. Please tell me that you see my slide.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we can see.
All right. So basically, this is take out from my slide from one lecture about sustainability. So in my lecture, I talk about two things, the climate change and the renewable energy. But today I will just skip the second part about renewable energy and just talk with you guys about the climate change. So I will talk about the history of climate and then the current and future change. And then I will talk about the impact of climate change. So I hope that after today, you guys will have kind of broad idea to answer the question that I used to ask you guys. Why the climate is changing and what the impact of that. So basically that Phương told me that you have a debate today. So maybe after this lecture, after my talk, you will have more information for your debating. All right, so here is just some book about my course, so you don't need it. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is something called the tragedy of common. So basically, this one is that you have a lot of individual and everyone act independently, but so no one want to actually destroy the common, but because of they acting on their own interest, so it resulting that all the whole resort, all the share resource system is destroyed. So for that, it one come from the old England. So basically from like 200 years ago, you have your own farm and you raise your sheep, your cow on that farm, and you want the grass on your own farm growing. But there is some farm that you share with other people, and that farm you just let your cow, let your sheep do whatever they want. You don't take care of that. So turn out after that, the whole grass on farm is destroyed, even that you don't want that to happen. So that is the tragedy of common, and this is you will hear about that a lot in economic, in finance, in economic, in or social field or anything like that, but especially in environment and in climate, because we share the same atmosphere, we share the same air, we share the same ocean, and if every one of you acting independently, acting like You just care about your own interest and turn out that even that you don't want to destroy the climate, you don't want to destroy the environment, but in the end you destroy that. So what is that happen right now? So that is the first thing I want to talk about, is the tragedy of common. The next one I will talk with you guys about the climate system. So yeah, as a student tell me that because of the vehicle release air on the in the atmosphere, right? So it got the climate changing. That is correct. So, but first I want to ask you guys, so the Earth and the Moon, it is the same position, distant from the Sun, but why the temperature in the Moon is really hot, like more than 100 degrees during the day, but really cold, minus 100 degrees at night. But on Earth, we doesn't feel so. We don't feel so. We feel like 15, 20 degrees, comfortable to live on Earth. So why that? Why the temperature in the Moon is really extreme, but it doesn't happen like that on Earth?
I think it's because the ozone layer.
Of the ozone layer.
Yeah.
Yep. So that is partly correct. So because of the atmosphere. So basically you can see here, we get the sun from the Earth, and the Earth absorb all the radiation from the sun, and then it released out to the atmosphere. So on the Moon, we don't have the atmosphere. We don't have the troposphere here. So we don't have it. One. So all of the energy come from the sun that come to the Earth, and it release all out. So that's why you feel really hot during the day, but cold at night. On Earth, it's not so. On Earth, you have the cloud. The cloud will trap all partly of the energy and release it back to the Earth. It makes the Earth warm. So you can see some of the energy coming in, coming out, but some coming back to the Earth. The energy that coming out, we call that albedo. The one that trapped into the atmosphere and coming back, we call that greenhouse gas. The greenhouse gas effect. So I believe that you already hear about it, greenhouse gas effects. Albedo is something like if you lift your car, your motorbikes on the summer, on the hot sunny day, you will feel that the city is really hot. So it means that it have high albedo, so it not reflect the sunlight. The one with have the white color, it will reflect all the sunlight. So this is three things that make the Earth warm, and we could live in the Earth. Insolation, it about the energy coming in. Albedo is the reflect of sunlight, and greenhouse gas. So greenhouse gas is not bad, and it is something believed belong to the Earth system. For the greenhouse gas, one person just say about the ozone layer. Ozone is just one of many gas in the atmosphere. We have methane, we have carbon dioxide, we have nitrogen, CFC, and all of it make up the whole upper atmosphere. So you could see here. All right, so I will explain why CO2, so the thing that released out of your vehicle on the street, why that make the Earth warm, and why it could actually trap the sunlight. So you can see that the sun could go through it, going in, but why it not going out, right? So it like you have the glass, the sun going in, but not going out. So I will explain why. All right, so it's because of the wavelength of the radiation from the sun. So when the sun going in, it have the short wavelength. So you can hear about the UV and the sunlight, had the UV and the visible. So the red light, all object going in. So all object greenhouse gas, they doesn't absorb that radiation with short wavelength, but the one going out, it from the earth. So it called thermal radiation from the earth, it going out. This one with high with have longer wavelength, and you can see, for example, CO2, carbon dioxide, it absorb this radiation. That's why it trapped the radiation and it coming back to the earth. So basically that is the normal activity of earth. But because of the industrial, so that you say because of the car release and the vehicle on the street, it release all of the gas to the atmosphere, it makes the earth warmer. So you have more CO2 now in the part. So you can see in the graph here, minus 400,000 years ago until now, and you can see from the part 200 years. So from the industrial revolution, you can see that it just go up, and now the CO2 is really high in the atmosphere right now. So you can see in the graph here, another graph of the atmosphere from like 20 years ago. So from 2002 and now 2016, and you can see that the greenhouse gas changed significantly. All right, but okay, so I just showed you that, okay, so the greenhouse gas is increasing, the earth is warming. So why people in the US, they don't believe that the climate changing. And one reason they don't believe that, because they think climate change is the part of the nature system. So the climate is always changing, and they believe that like in the whole history, climate is actually changed now. It's not part of the human activity. So a lot of argument going out in the USA from Donald Trump. He told us that the climate is not changing because of human. It's just a nature activity thing. So I will try to prove you guys that is not true. And one thing is, they call that the Milankovitch Circle. So the Earth is always going around the sun in ellipse circle, but it's believed that like 100,000 or 400,000 years, it changes circle from ellipse to round circle. So you can see here. And also it changed the precession and it tilts the angle as well. So 26,000 years and 41,000 years. For example, if it change the precession like this, so 26,000 years, it's changing that from here to here. It means that you will have summer in January and you have winter in July. So that is what people believe that is happening right now. So people believe that is not because of climate change, because of this circle. Now it's changing in the past, and now maybe that we are in the middle of the changing of this circle. All right, so this is the Milankovitch Circle. So it's really hard to study it because it is about 100,000 years, 400,000 years. I mean, it's already in the history, and people don't have all the technology or the equipment to actually learn about history that far. But believe me that scientists make the way to study that. And one thing to study is they try to study the sediment core from the fuel, from the fossil. So they could actually drill into the ground and then put the soil or anything out of the ground, and they study that soil and they study how the temperature change through that all of the layer of sediment. So for example, they could study the ice core in the Arctic. So if they drill through the ice, you know that the snow is falling, and because it's cold, it freeze, and then it keep falling and it freeze, and through time to time you will have all the layer and layer like that. And if you drill into the earth and you could put that out, you could study all of that ice, all of that snow in the past, and you learn about the temperature. So one way to learn about the temperature, how you could learn about that temperature. So you just look at the ice, how could you learn the temperature? One thing to do that is to study the portion of oxygen in the ice. So you know that water is H2O, right? So it have hydro and OC. And I believe that from the high school, you study that OC have the mass of 16. So the mass of OC, the OC is 16, but actually OC have two different masses. The one is 16 and the second one is 18. So the 16, we call it light OC, and the 18, we call it heavy oxygen. So when we have low temperature, it doesn't have much evaporation. So the evaporation is not strong enough to lift up the heavy OC to the atmosphere. So if you see it in the ice, it doesn't have a lot of heavy OC. It means that the temperature at that time is low. But if it had a lot of heavy OC, it means the temperature at that time is high. So they try to study that, and actually they come up with 5 million years of climate change. So you could see here. So this is 5 million years of climate temperature of Earth. And this line here, this line is the current temperature right now. So you can see that in the past 41,000 year or 100,000 year of this one, the current temperature is much higher than all of the temperature in the past Milankovitch Circle. So you can see the Milankovitch Circle have this one, this 40,000 year, 26 and 100,000 year like that. And here it's proof to you guys that in the past, now the temperature is higher, much higher than the Milankovitch Circle. This telling you that the temperature of the Earth right now, it not believe that it's not due to the natural process of the Earth circle, but it's believed to due to the human activity. So you can see this is the temperature changing in the past. And so you can see that the temperature in the past 200 years, it changed significantly, almost 2 degrees. Here it changed like higher, 2 degrees higher. Vietnam is around here, 1 degree higher. All right, and this one is the temperature in the future. So how could you study the temperature in the future? Actually, they just write like me. I write some of the computational model, and I put all the data into that model. And with that model, I try to calculate how it changes with the old scenario in the future. So if you put two objects one, and you run the model, the one with B1 is the scenario when we try to protect the Earth. So when we try to keep the CO2 in the limit level, we try to lower the industrial activity. The A2 scenario, it means that you keep just let it doing what we're doing now without doing nothing to save the Earth. So you can see that two different things of the temperature if you're changing that. And the next one is also this one I pulled out from NASA. And so this one, you can see that for nature without human activity, this one, actually the temperature is not changing, but with human activity, it's just jumping up like that. All right, so this is the 10 indication to tell you that the climate is changing. So when I ask you guys that why do you think that climate is changing, so we can look at all of these 10 things. So you have the rising in temperature over the ocean, you have the ice melt, you have the temperature rising over the land, you have the ice sea melting on the pole. So all of it indicate you. So 10 of it one, if all of it is right now is happening. So when I ask you why the climate changing, you could just pull out any of it from 10 of it one, and you tell people that, all right, so the sea temperature is increasing, the ice is melting. So things like that, it indicates that, oh, global warming and climate is changing. All right. The next one, I want to talk about the impact of climate change. So the thing about climate change that why people don't scare of that, because it's so far away. Something is on the pole, something in like 1,000 kilometers away from home. They don't feel that. They just feel like, oh, we are safe right now. I want to prove to you guys that we are not safe from climate change. The first thing is climate change melting the ice in the pole. So someone already told me about that earlier today, right? So because of the ice melting, what change that caused from ice melting? Could anyone tell me about it? So the ice melting, what is that will impact on our life?
Well, I think that the ice melting can cause the rise in the sea level, which may lead to the disappearance of some land we are living. For example, in the Mekong Delta in Vietnam, we are losing some of our soil, and our soil are being how can I say it? And our soil are being changed in a negative way.
All right.
The life of the people be severely affected.
Okay, so you think that the sea level rising because of the ice melting in the pole?
Yes, and also the.
So do you think that, for example, if I have a glass of water and I have some ice I put into that glass, right? And I just leave the glass on the table, and if the ice melt, do you think that the level of water in my glass it will rise?
Yes, I think so.
Anyone think that the water in my glass will rising because of the ice that I put in my glass melting? Anyone understand that I just said? So I have a glass of water, like Coca-Cola, anything like that. I put ice, all right, and I just leave the glass there, and then the ice melt. So after that, do you think that the Coke I will have more Coke to drink?
Yeah.
Yes. Agree.
Yeah.
Anyone know about the Archimedes? Archimedes theory? Yes. So basically, if you put ice into the glass, it will contain the same volume of water. So the water is still in the glass, right? The ice melt into the glass, so the water is still in the glass. So the water before and after the ice melt is the same. It's the same in the glass. The water level is not increased, you know, because of the ice in the glass. It's melting. Could anyone understand that?
Yes, I see your point. But however, when the ice in the two poles are melting, of course, the sea level will rise. But it's different from the ice in your cup.
It's the same thing. So basically, you have the whole ocean. It's just like dog glass, and you have some ice on that. So it's that throughout history, the same level of water, sea level. But now it melts. The sea level is just still the same. So what makes the sea level rise? Could anyone think of anything that makes the sea level rise? If I told you that it's not because of the ice from the pole melting. So I will do this. So that is the 10 things that happen when climate change. What from the 10 things that make the sea level rising? It's not from the sea ice. The ice is already. Sorry.
I guess that the temperature is higher, so that the water expands. The water expands. So
okay. So that one is correct. So that's the first one. Good job. Actually, no, not everyone actually know that. What is your name? Nguyễn Mai Phương. Good job. So the first one is the temperature is increasing. It expands the water in the ocean. It makes the sea level rise. So what is the second reason? Is it from here? The second reason is from the melting of the ice from land. It's just melting here, it goes through the river, and it goes to the ocean. So all of this ice actually it not belong to this water, this body of water. And now it melt, it go back down, and it go to the ocean. All right, so why the melting of water in the pole, it not make the sea level rise, but why it still threaten our life activity? It's because you know that in the ocean, it has some current. So you have the hot stream, you have the cold stream, and then hot water. So the heavier will go down, the hot it go up. So the cold go down like that from the pole, it go down and it go to the equator. And then in the equator, it hotter, it go up and it go back to the pole. It makes some hot and cold stream in the ocean. And if everything with mass moving, it contains energy. So with jet stream moving like this, it contains a lot of energy. Hot stream, it makes zero warm. So if jet changing and we don't have jet hot stream anymore, all Europe will be really cold. It's freakingly cold in the winter. You cannot live in Europe if you don't have jet Gulf Stream. And the activity of jet Gulf Stream is from the sea ice melting. So you can see right now in Europe, the temperature already changed. Norway back then in January, the temperature is about like 19 degrees. So it's the first in history that people in Norway cannot believe that in the winter, the temperature is around above zero, it's above 10 degrees actually. In the winter, it's super cold right now. So before that, you can see in Spain and in France, it's always hot with visit, people swimming and things like that. But now they cannot do that because it's cold. So because of the changing of the group stream, the group stream is just only one stream in the whole ocean. Just a lot of things happen in the ocean. And if that changing, it changes the whole climate system, and you will feel that. The next thing, okay, I want to skip it because it's quite complicated. But believe that means that in the earth, you have the wind is from high pressure to low pressure, and you have a lot of atmosphere and the air moving through the atmosphere, and that is because of all of the temperature, higher temperature here raising the air up, and then it, when the air go up and it go through the pole, it's colder, so it's heavier, so it go down and it make all of this circle. And because of the earth spinning, so with the column of air go up like that and the earth spinning, you have the trade wind in the equator. So all of it make up the wind in the equator. But I use that to explain one thing. It called the problem of El Nino and El Nina. So I believe that you already heard about it. So basically that you have the trade wind coming from South America and going through the ocean, go to like here in Vietnam and Philippines and Malaysia here. And this air coming here, it warm, it go up, because warm air have a lot of moist, a lot of water into that. It go up, it making rain here. But right now, because of the temperature changing and all of the atmosphere circulation is changing, so maybe you don't have strong enough trade wind, and jet wind just go up here and it just making rain in the middle of Pacific Ocean. Or you already have too strong trade wind and it make all the rain is not here, but maybe go down here to Singapore or something. So that change all the pattern of the earth because of climate change, and that you can feel that in the part of the like Ninh Thuận, Bình Thuận, or something like that. It right now it doesn't have a lot of rain because of this problem. So this one nature problem is from nature. So it happened like between 3 years or 4 years. It's a natural part of the earth system, but because of the earth trending, you have this El Nino and La Nina happen. And things like that will change the raining in the earth as well. So here you can see the two scenario. The second one, you can see that it have more water falling down to the earth. So you can see it have a lot of change in the rain. More raining, it's more flooding. So you have a lot of urban flooding and everything like that because of climate change. This one is the soil moisture in America, and so you can see also in the past and in the future, it changes soil moisture. Now it have a lot of drought as well. So you don't have a lot of rain in this region. You have more rain in this region. You don't have a lot of rain in this region. So basically, it changed the whole thing. Oh, let's talk about sea level rise. Sea level rise, I believe that everyone already know about that. It caused flooding, and so here is scenario when the sea level rise 1 meter. You can see Vietnam here, 2 meter. The whole part of Mekong Delta is gone. 6 meter. I believe that we don't have the South Vietnam anymore if we have 6 meter of sea level rise. All of this is run from a computational model. So of course it's not 100% correct. So like because it uses the data and it predict the future. But something that to believe that if someone tells you that, if on the news it tells you that tomorrow it will be rain, you should bring an umbrella with you when you go outside, even though that it may not be rain. So it's the same thing here. It tells you that if the sea level rise 1 meter, you lose a lot of land here. It may or may not correct, but because it's you a lot of data, global data, so some part of that, you should believe that. I would skip this one. Basically, this one explains how the storm form. So to storm to be formed, you need to have high temperature in the ocean. You have the lower wind, and that is already happening right now. You have higher temperature of the ocean. You have less wind. So that's why you have more storm. So the frequency of storm you can see here. You can see that the frequency of storm is increasing from most of the high latitude and mid latitude countries, and also the intensity. If any one of you guys come from the central part of Vietnam, you can feel that 10 years ago, you just heard about like the storm is at number 9, number 10, but it's like number 14, number 18, number 16, something like that. So you have more storm coming in, and you have more intensity as well. So before it category 10, category 12, now they need to increase that category of the storm. So you can feel all of that happening. And actually you can see that in the late 21st century, there will be like 100 more storms of category 4 and 5. So in American, category 4 and 5 is the strongest category of storm. So you can feel that, see that in the late of this century, there will be 100 more storm every year. That is a lot. All right. The next impact of climate change. Okay. So you have the sea level. So it impacts the marine life. So the sea level rise. You have the CO2 rise. CO2 is acid. More acid, more CO2 in the ocean. It makes the ocean, you see the pH here, the pH here is decreased. If you study chemistry, you know that if the pH decrease, it means that the ocean, the water level is more acid. So you can see the marine life here. When it's more acid, the cell here just destroys. So it affects the marine life, fish, salt, shrimp, things like that in the ocean as well. The next thing of the impact of climate change is salinity intrusion. You hear about it a lot in Bến Tre, Cà Mau, like right now it's really hot on the news. In Vietnamese it's called hạn mặn. So you hear about that on the news a lot. So why that? Because it's because of, so you have the land is it doesn't have the fresh water. So for example, in the Mekong Delta, all of the dam that Chinese building on the upstream of Mekong Delta, it stopped the water coming down. So it makes the whole part of Mekong Delta right now, it doesn't have fresh water. And with the sea level rising, it makes the sea coming in. So it makes all part of the plan of the Mekong in the south is now with salt water. So it's not that actually you hear on the news, it's all about Mekong Delta, but there is a lot of like in the Red River Delta, it just have the same thing. Đà Nẵng. So Đà Nẵng have the river, one river is called Vũ Gia Thu Bồn, and that river has the same problem. Because of sea level coming in, they don't have fresh water coming down. So right now, even the factory in the water factory in Da Nang, they need to run water with lower salt water. They don't have fresh water anymore. So basically, if you come to Da Nang, you drink the water, you will feel a little bit salty. you don't have fresh water in Da Nang because of that problem. They try to solve that, but yeah, it wouldn't happening anytime soon. So you can see, now you see a lot of impact. You have extreme weather, more storm, you have salinity intrusion, you have water rising, you have temperature changing, you losing land, you have more rain, flooding, you have like droughting in the summer. All of that happen in the same time because of climate change. So because of that, it have a lot of impact on Earth, on the animal, on us, on our life every day. So I believe today I make you believe that I tell you about the climate in the past, how it's changing in the future, and the impact of climate change. So any question? Any question in the chat box? How the hell could I open the chat box? Hey Phương, any question in the chat box? Oh, I don't have any question here.
Oh no, yes. So anyone, if you have any questions, just raise your voice. Who said that? Any questions?
What are you guys planning to debate today?
It's just kind of debate they can prepare. They have to prepare at home. But it's not really related to climate change. But they have some kind of speaking activities.
Okay.
Mm.
So when you prepare your like speaking activity about climate change, any question or Ozone?
Okay, so any questions? No, Anh?
I already heard that you said that some countries, like some developed countries like America, they don't really believe in climate change. But I think that they are mainly responsible for climate change. So what do you think about that? And do you think that they have to be responsible for like coming up with any solutions to this problem?
Actually, the belief system in America is really complicated. It not come just from one people believe that is true, one people doesn't believe that. It come from politics, it come from money. So, for example, right now the world is still running in fossil fuel, right? So running on oil, coal, natural gas, and that thing owned by a really big organization. So the oil industry in America is really big. It have a lot of money. It owns the politics. So people like Donald Trump come from the Republican Party. He worked for them, actually. So when you say that, okay, you ask someone that, do you believe in climate change? Maybe they believe, maybe they know the scientific facts about the climate changing, but they still say that they doesn't believe that because of their benefit. So American is that happen. It's just coming from a lot of complicated system. So it's just not saying, but do you know that the whole scientific research for climate happen the most in America? So even though that a lot of people in America, they doesn't believe in climate change, but a lot of scientists, a lot of people, they believe that and they work for that. And also country like Vietnam or like developing country, poor country, we not contribute that much to just to like CO2 to the atmosphere. The two countries that contribute the most CO2 to the atmosphere is China and America. And the two countries right now withdraw from the Paris Agreement of the CO2 through the atmosphere. So that is really warning. That is something like me doesn't want that to happen. So I believe that because when I talk about energy, the coal and the fossil fuel, it will running out in 30 years or 50 years. For car is still like 100 years, but for oils and things like that, it's like 30 or 50 years. So people, believe it or not, in 30 years, they need to come up with a solution. They cannot just keep the world just running like that anymore. And actually, you know, right now, a lot of things happen, a lot of policy, a lot of like people switch to use renewable energy. And like, you know, a lot of green projects, even in Vietnam, you know, something it called zero carbon emission building. So a lot of construction company even building a building that running by itself. So it just gets the energy from the sun. It doesn't release any carbon. Things like that is now happening in the world. So try to be positive and try to work towards it. So for you, I think that you need to just contribute. So when you do something, you think about the climate. When you go out on the street to the stop roads, try to turn off your motorcycle completely. Some people that still keep it running, it releases a lot of CO2. Actually, when it doing like that, it releases more CO2 than it actually running, than it actually moving. So try to think of the climate in that way and eat less meat. Why? 1 kilogram of beef using like 10,000 liters of water. The same protein you could get from peanut, from nut or anything like that, it use like 100 less water. So the thing is something like that when you just doing any of your activity day life. So that is the part of you right now as a student. And after you graduate from school, maybe you come up, you become some big politician or something like that. Now that is the time to think big. But for you right now, just do some small part of you. Try to think of the climate every time you like wake up or just go to sleep, something like that. All right, next question.
So I have a question for you.
Sorry?
I have a question for you. Some people believe that it is too late for us to save the earth, and the only viable option for the human race to survive is moving to another planet. As environmental researchers, do you think that there is no way we can save the earth anymore? And if we are able to save the earth, what should we do to protect our home?
All right. So the thing is, there's a new research that coming up last month saying that even that we keep the CO2 level, it's really low, the ice from the pole still melting. So there's a lot of studies saying that we already passed the point that we actually saving. But there's also a lot of model running, and it's saying that if you keep the CO2 level at really minimum, you will come up with more technology in the future that actually could, for example, there is one technology that already have to to close the ozone layer. Some activity actually put the water vapor on the earth. You know, the water vapor is something that makes the sun reflect out of the earth, so it makes the earth cooling. So we will, along with doing that, like what we're doing, try to save the earth, try to keep the carbon lower and things like that. We also come up with like the new technology to save earth, save of what we are doing right now. And actually people is like human, it's like we are something, we adapt to everything. So like 50 years ago, if you use the same rice, the rice in the Mekong Delta, it cannot survive the salt water. But because of scientists, because of revolution, things like that, evolution, it right now people could actually grow rice in low level of salt water. So human adapting to climate change. So in your point that we need to move to another planet, I don't know whether that could actually happen, because in Mars, we have water in Mars maybe, but to live there, it not happen in the near future anytime soon. So what we can do right now is try to adapt to climate change, try to improve our technology. And I believe that whether the Earth is, or the point is still safe not that or not saving that, we just cannot give up that. Any question? Any question about what that I just said? I think I just try to stop sharing. All right.
Any other questions? Let's see.
Any one of you guys want to graduate and to work in something related to environment or climate? Or all of you here that want to be teacher?
Not sure, right? No questions? Let's see, what about Thanh Thư? Any questions so far?
I think I know.
Do you have any questions?
Do you have any question for yeah?
Thảo Phạm.
Well, I heard about the point that the challenges of the commons, and I just wonder, can you name some activities from the human that lead to that tragedies of the commons? And I just want to know, because I want to know that whether I have some kind of activity which lead to that challenge or not.
In Vietnamese, they have some really common saying. What do you say? Cha chung không ai khóc. So that is in Vietnamese. So it's just the same thing. And I could give you an example of fishery. Like when the fishers, they go to international water, they think that it not belong to like the water in the country, and they just fish whatever they want. But they doesn't know that all the fish in the ocean, it just come from that, it go through that, it go into to the water, and it just actually go to like the Vietnamese, it will go to Vietnam border. So we just losing the fish. And that happened in America. So in America, in Atlanta and something, they just feed a lot of lobster and crab. And they feed up all of that. And they didn't care about what else. So they make thing in Boston, up in the north. Actually, there's one year, 2000, I don't remember the years, but Vermont and Boston, New Hampshire up the north, it believed that it has a lot of lobster, but at that there is not. It's because of the fishers, they just come to the international body of water and then they fish it up. So fishery is also one example of tragedy of common. The tragedy of common, I just told you about the climate, about water, about land, things like that. But actually, you know, the Alps, the mountain in Europe, the Alps, it go through Switzerland and things like that. That's it. One example that people actually could work together. So a lot of countries sharing that mountain. But the mountain right now is still green, still have a lot of nature resort and things like that. Because all of that, they work together to protect that. So that is one example that not every common will have the tragedy. So to work it out with the tragedy common, yeah, in policy, there will be 3 different levels. The one is between individual, so between family, between you and your neighbor and things like that. You need to work it out. The second one is inside the country. So the government need to have law, need to, like, the government should not be corrupt, things like that. The next level is between country. The last level between country is really difficult because, you know, each of country, they have a different moral code, different culture, different law and things like that. So it's harder to work it out. But there are 3 levels of policy need to be done to actually avoid the tragedy of common. But for you, I think just think of what you do in everyday life, like I just told you before. So that is the thing that you will have the climate. Like maybe tomorrow, don't drive to work, don't drive to school, take the bus. That is the thing that you could actually do.
I walk to school every day.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
So any other question?
Tragedy of common is something that if anyone will study economic, especially in sustainability, you will know about that term a lot. So common is the mảnh đất. So it in Vietnam it's a big kick of mảnh đất công.
Okay.
So any question? It doesn't need to relate to, you could ask me anything about politics, about policy, about environment, anything, even about what I study, about climate, something like that. What happened in Vietnam? Anyone from here that come from a coastal town, coastal hometown?
I come from Hải Phòng. So I want to ask you another question. That what is the worst scenarios that could happen if we don't have any solution to remedy the climate change or to stop it? What is the worst scenario that could happen?
All right. So the first, a lot of model actually run it out. So I already told you about the rain, about the sunlight, about the temperature. And so you have flooding, you will lose a lot of land. You will have like a lot of social uncrop, like people will move out from, like you don't have your house in Hải Phòng anymore. You need to move like deep inside the land because you're losing land right now. You have a lot of strong storm